This is a test to see how bad my voice actually sounds as I attempt to record a podcast with strep throat. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. Thanks for rocking with me. We should be back up to normal speed next week. If you'd like to support any cough drop funds, you can buy me a coffee. Link in bio. Take care of yourselves. What if the thing standing between you and the help you actually need is your own refusal to hold your hand out first? This dream showed up during one of the messier chapters of my life. A real move, real financial chaos, boxes I couldn't organize because half of it I didn't even recognize as mine anymore. And out of all that mess came one of the clearest teachings I've ever received about worthiness. This is Lucid Dream, the envelope. I had a dream a couple nights ago that's still lingering with me. I need to write about it to get it out. In the dream, I was moving. Things in my life were shifting. I was experiencing change, which is not an easy state for me to be in. I think it's quite difficult for most people, or so I've heard. So absolutely uncomfortable change is. But it's the only thing in this world that is promised. The only constant in this life is that things will change. We can only control how we choose to respond to it when it arrives. The change in my dream manifested as a move. I was packing boxes, trying to find any kind of order in this sudden and violent upheaval. This chaos that I found myself standing in the middle of. I didn't even remember half of this stuff that I had to organize and put into boxes. Where did all of this junk come from? The boxes started to disappear, one by one. And it was almost like I was beginning to acquire more stuff somehow, while simultaneously running out of containers to put it all in. No way to contain the chaos. Chaos was growing, and increasingly I was becoming more panicked, anxious, afraid, overwhelmed. If y'all know me, you know I like to throw things away when I move. I tend to think of myself as a clean sweeper, a minimalist. It's much easier for me to throw it away or leave it behind, and instead just buy a new one when I get to wherever I'm going. Clean slate, new and fresh. But in the dream, I couldn't bring myself to throw anything away. I was having trouble making decisions. I was paralyzed. Trying so hard to see the solution beyond the mess, but as things kept piling up around me, the harder way out was to see. I very rarely think critically in those moments, but I've really been trying to do that more and more. I like to ask myself, is the sky falling right now? I call it the Chicken Little tactic. I'll look myself in the mirror and stop. Fully stop. I'll ask myself, Miki, is this the end of the world? Is the sky falling right now? The answer has always been no, so far. And thus, I am able to stand back up and carry on with my day. Then, as I was beginning my new ritual of critical thinking, a man with gray hair walked into the room. While I didn't know him by name, I felt comforted by his presence. He had a calm presence, a quiet demeanor, and kind eyes. I knew he was a friend, an ally, someone I could trust. I quietly watched him pack a box, being so very delicate with my belongings. I could sense that even though he may not know what they were, he found them valuable, just as he found me valuable. This kind of friendship and human decency is hard to find these days, I remember remarking to myself. Just simple acts of kindness like this had me not wanting to wake up and risk being removed from this precious dream, this sacred space of peace and unconditional positive regard. Lucid dreams, they call them. I'm very good at them. Stick around and maybe subscribe to read some subscriber-only lucid dream posts if you're into them. Miki Meta Muse, all one word, on Substack. He placed the box down in front of me, quietly sighing, "There." And he turned to walk away, but then remembered he forgot something as he slipped his hands in his coat pocket. He placed a white envelope just inside the top of the box, smiled, and left. Inside the envelope, of course, was cash, but as it was a dream, it symbolized something much greater than just a few dollar bills. The envelope symbolizes the solution that I must trust is on its way to me. It symbolizes a solution that my life of chaos and uncertainty deserves. I am worthy of what's lying inside of that envelope. I am worthy of the freedom it promises to deliver. I am worthy of finding a way to still the chaos, to quiet the voices of self-doubt and imposter syndrome. I am worthy of living a successful life. And I am also learning something else as I slowly open my eyes to find another beautiful morning upon me. As I look out to see the dawn starting to break just beyond the rooftops, I reflect that the envelope cannot appear unless I create space and make room for it to show up first. It is a two-way street. I must be open to receiving the help, the solutions, the blessings, the value, and the worth. In order to be given the envelope, I must first reach out my hand. This is me, accepting and stating my worth. This is me, reaching out my hand. Let's open this thing and see what the universe has in store for me next. Signed, me. All right, let's start with the obvious thing and then go underneath it. The envelope isn't money. I said that myself in the essay. Of course, it's a dream. Of course, it symbolizes something bigger than a few dollar bills. It's permission. And I want to really slow down on that word, permission, because all of last season was called permission to be. And I think that this essay might be the most literal, unfiltered version of that theme in the entire catalog. I am worthy of a way out of the chaos. I am worthy of freedom. I am worthy of quieting the voice of self-doubt. Go back and listen to those lines again if you need to. I wrote them almost like vows, like little promises to myself, whispered while I was still half asleep, before my defenses were fully back online to argue with them. Here's something I think about a lot. Most of the personal growth conversation out there is about giving, releasing, or letting go. And that's real, it all matters. You'll hear plenty of that later this season. But this essay is doing something different. This one is about receiving, being open enough to receive. And can I just say, for those of us who've built an entire identity around being the strong one, the fixer, the one who doesn't need anything from anybody, hint, hint, this girl is recording a podcast with strep throat. Receiving is so much harder than giving. It requires a different kind of muscle. A muscle a lot of us never got the chance to build. Then there's the man. Gray hair, calm presence, kind eyes. I didn't know his name, but I trusted him instantly. And what does he do? Nothing dramatic. He packs one box, gently, very carefully. He doesn't fix the whole move. He doesn't solve the chaos. He just handles one box like it matters, like I matter. I think that's the real teaching hiding under the envelope. Support rarely arrives as this huge, grand rescue. It arrives ordinary, quiet, almost missable if you're too busy looking for the big, dramatic solution to notice the small, tender one right in front of you. And there's a piece of Buddhist teaching that lives right here, too. Dependent origination. The idea that nothing arises independently, all on its own. Help doesn't just show up out of nowhere either. It's conditioned. It arrives because something in us finally made a little room for it to land. And then the line that ends the whole essay, the one I think is doing all of the heavy lifting here, is the envelope cannot appear unless I create space and make room for it to show up first. It is a two-way street. I must be open to receiving. I must reach out my hand. That's the practice, beautiful souls. Not grasping, not forcing, just opening yourself, just becoming available. So where in your life is an envelope waiting for you right now? And what would it actually take for you to reach for it? If this story landed somewhere in you and you recognize that ache of needing help and not knowing how to receive it, that's exactly the kind of thing we hold space for in the Metta Momentum Sangha. It's free. It's a community on School, and it's full of people learning alongside each other how to open their hands. And permission to be goes even deeper into this practice, step by step, at your own pace. Come find us. You are worthy of what's inside the envelope. The Softening into Momentum podcast is lovingly curated, created, written, edited, and produced by me, Miki, with accompanying sound bath frequencies by my good friend, Static. If you would like to dive further into his incredible musical work, please go to YouTube or wherever you stream music at Static is Noise. Permission to Be is an 8-week mindful sobriety and self-trust journey back to yourself, rooted in compassion, nervous system awareness, Buddhist philosophy, and lived experience. It's for anyone and everyone that wants to take a look inside their inner self. You don't need to fix yourself. You need a gentler way home. Learn more in the show notes. Thank you so much for softening into this moment with me. Thank you for allowing me to stay consistent and show up for you, even when I'm a little bit under the weather. Until we meet again, Namaste.